Welcome to Tzu Chi This Week. I'm Anita Lee. It's good to have you with us. Coming up, Tzu Chi Indonesia Chapter hosted an iftar dinner for its staff to observe the religious holiday. We learn how a couple in China comes to terms with his son's illness after learning about the impermanence of life. In the Philippines, former Tzu Chi scholarship recipients attend a homecoming at the Jing Si Hall. During the holy month of Ramadan, iftar is very much a social event where family and friends gather together to break their fast. Hence, the Tzu Chi Indonesia Chapter hosted an iftar dinner for its Muslim staff. Even employees of the construction company overseeing the building of the Tzu Chi Hospital, as well as Muslim charity organizations, were invited to celebrate in a grand manner. During Ramadan, iftar is a time when family and friends get together each day to break their fast. The Tzu Chi Indonesia Chapter decided to do something special for its staff by hosting an iftar banquet for 650 staff. Both Muslim and non-Muslim staff worked together to ensure the banquet's success.
I am very happy to be of service. Seeing people segregated because of religious differences is the last thing I want.
Whether it was setting up the venue or helping out in the kitchen, everyone worked together as a team.
Tzu Chi hosted this iftar dinner to bring everyone closer together.
Newly joined staff member Waudi Rizki, who is taking part in the event for the first time, says the event highlights a respect for religious and cultural diversity.
This event really highlighted unity and a respect for diversity. I was put in charge of decorating the venue and seeing so many of my non-Muslim colleagues helping out. I feel that my Muslim colleagues were treated with a great deal of respect.
Besides the foundation staff members, employees of the construction company in charge of the construction of the Tzu Chi Hospital were also invited to share in the joys of the occasion.
I'm extremely grateful to Tzu Chi for organizing this iftar banquet for us. Thank you for inviting us, Tzu Chi.
Other guests were also impressed with the level of respect shown towards other people's religious beliefs.
Tapi menghargai kita di bulan puasa dengan membuat
This iftar dinner hosted by Tzu Chi is so special, and we are truly honored to be a part of this occasion.
Sharing the joys of iftar as a big family, Tzu Chi volunteers hope that participants may also spread this happiness and love among the less fortunate. Tzu Chi volunteers in Indonesia have been spreading the idea of practicing daily acts of kindness. Responding to their cause has been staff members of Bank Central Asia's Juanda branch, who have also realized that spare change can really add up to make a big difference. Bank tellers who sort through coins and bills on a daily basis are now donating their own pocket change, putting love into action.
I often end up with a lot of coins, which really adds to the weight of my wallet. So what I do now is gather all my change and deposit it into my coin bank on a daily basis. Although the change does not amount to much, it can still help a person in need.
Tzu Chi volunteer Linda Sig is a regular customer of Bank Central Asia. Hence, she took the opportunity to encourage staff members to practice one kind deed a day to cultivate blessings.
My husband has been a customer at this bank for 30 years now, and since we bank here, I also take the opportunity to tell them about Tzu Chi and invite them to sign up as donating members.
Tzu Chi volunteers' efforts to promote their cause has not been in vain, as staff members recently donated their filled coin banks to Tzu Chi, creating a cycle of goodness in society. The Canadian charity Global Medic has been working with the Tzu Chi Canada chapter to provide daily supplies for quake survivors in Nepal, as a lot of manpower is needed to separate the supplies from Canada into individual sets. Close to 30 volunteers quickly took up the task to ensure these relief packs will be ready for the upcoming distribution.
Inside the Seaboard International College in Bhaktapur, Nepal, are supplies for quake survivors from Canada's Global Medic and Tzu Chi Chapter.
Okay, rope, which we will be taking out.
As a lot of manpower is needed to separate and pack the supplies, some 20 local volunteers and 3 volunteers from the U.S. have shown to offer their service.
We came to Nepal to help the victims of the earthquake. We wanted to see what was going on and to try and help the best we could. And we're very lucky to find this organization that is doing such amazing work and to participate with them. A lot of amazing volunteers here doing amazing things.
I'm really happy to doing a voluntary by Tzu Chi Foundation. I think it is a very good opportunity to me to do like a volunteer.
Now my country needs help. Yeah, it is destroyed by the earthquake, so you have come to help us. So it's also our responsibility to help whatever we can. So we all are doing this as Tzu Chi volunteer, and I feel proud to do this.
Harnessing strength from their grief, the group sorted the supplies according to the needs of different regions. By investing in themselves wholeheartedly, they have come to relish the joy of giving.
From Anhui, China, Li Silong and wife were happily married until their daughter was born in 2008. As the girl was born with a rare illness, the couple spent their life savings on her medical bills. When their son was born later, he too developed a relatively rare form of cancer at 3 years old. The continuous mishaps and financial burden hit the couple hard. Thankfully, Tzu Chi volunteers in Pudong learned of the family's plight while the son was undergoing chemotherapy in Shanghai and have taught them to deal with the impermanence in life.
Five-year-old Hao Ran talks about his chemotherapy as if it's nothing. Though young, he knows not to have his parents worry over his condition.
When I took him in to get his shot, he didn't cry, but I did.
When Hao Ran was 3, he developed rhabdomyosarcoma. After a year of chemotherapy, his cancer unfortunately reoccurred again earlier this year. To save his life, his mom brought him from Anhui to Shanghai for treatment, but the rent, living expense, and medical bills have her overwhelmed.
I'm also enduring much hardship, but I can't talk about it in front of my wife. She is out there alone, caring for Hao Ran by herself.
We told her that she should not be sad all the time. If she constantly immerses herself in negative feelings, she can't be there for Hao Ran.
Tzu Chi volunteers from Pudong are providing the family with subsidies so that Hao Ran can focus on getting better. After learning that Hao Ran's father and sister are coming to visit, volunteers organized a banquet for them. At this joyous occasion, they learned to cherish their time together and each other's company. Volunteers also prepared a carnation for Hao Ran to give to his mother. Sharing a hug, they will forever remember the warmth and happiness of this moment in their hearts.
In April of this year, Korean TV station TVN came to Taiwan to film an in-depth report on Tzu Chi. The resulting one-hour program was recently broadcasted on July 7th and went a long way to introducing Tzu Chi and its work to members of the Korean public.
How has Tzu Chi been helping disaster victims the world over, and how has it grown in the process? Korean TV station TVN came to Taiwan to find the answers. As part of the program, the host led an interfaith dialogue in Hualien, where Tzu Chi's commitment to both the religious and charitable sides of Buddhism was discussed.
The name Tzu Chi stands for compassion and assistance. In Christianity, we call it universal love. Catholicism, we call it God's love for the world. In Tzu Chi, as long as you have this love and compassion and are willing to serve, you're welcome to join us.
Seeing Tzu Chi's work on the domestic and international front, regardless of any differences in faith or race, The host was quietly moved to tears.
People helping people. To find a religious organization like this one has to look to Tzu Chi. Our production unit felt that religion in Korea needs to look to and learn from Master Zhen Yan and Tzu Chi.
The one-hour broadcast was shown in Korea on the 7th. Not long after, Master Zhen Yan was catapulted to the 10th most searched-for name on the internet in Korea. It's clear that the program succeeded in bringing the Tzu Chi name into many households, while also helping to plant the seeds of Tzu Chi's love.
Since 1995, the Tzu Chi Philippines chapter has helped more than 5,000 students from underprivileged families actualize their dreams through education. At a recent scholarship awards ceremony, volunteers also invited former scholarship recipients, all of whom are making great careers for themselves, to share their personal journeys and motivate their younger peers to follow their dreams. Welcoming former scholarship recipients home with an animated song and dance, today the Jing Si Hall in Quezon City is filled with a familial and warm atmosphere.
Hoping that one day they become pillars of our society, and what we had taught them will not go in vain. What we taught them will bloom, and they themselves will be benefiting our country, benefiting our community.
These 67 former recipients were once deprived of an education due to poverty, but thanks to Tzu Chi scholarship support, they were able to receive quality education and live out their dreams. Now they are excelling in their chosen careers.
Especially not only yung financial matters, but mostly yung education in terms of good attitude, prioritizing your studies as well as your family.
Brother Michael's inspirational talk not only motivated me to try and do my best in my line of work, it also served as a reminder to be filial to my parents and to help others in need.
Since 1995, the Tzu Chi Philippines chapter has been supporting underprivileged students financially on their path to learning. This is the first time volunteers have organized a homecoming for its former scholarship recipients.
This is the first time a reunion has been organized for former scholarship recipients, and I think it turned out really well. I hope we can have reunions like this every year. I'd like to thank the Tzu Chi volunteers for organizing such a great homecoming.
Over the past 2 decades, Tzu Chi volunteers in the Philippines have helped some 5,000 students make their dreams a reality, and they promise to continue helping deserving students reach their full potential and live out their dreams. Besides giving out scholarships to help needy children in the Philippines, Tzu Chi volunteers recently organized a humanitarian culture camp for children, so the volunteers can better guide them and care for them in the future.
Welwon, who is a high school student and his grandmother's favorite child, eats and studies on this small desk.
His father left the family, so there is no one to take care of him.
In spite of his family problems, Welwon is grateful for what he has.
I love you too, kid. I don't have other wishes but that you study hard and finish school.
Like Welwon, in the Philippines, there are many teenagers who drop out of school because of poverty. Lovely, whose parents are divorced, did not attend high school until she was 19 because she had to earn her tuition.
I look for work during school breaks. Although the pay is low, I can buy some notebooks and stationery with the money. I miss my siblings, and I hope that I can bring them back after I graduate.
Whether it is Welwon, Lovely, or other needy students, Tzu Chi volunteers have invited them to join the big Tzu Chi family and will continue to help them pursue a brighter future.
Back in March, a fire broke out in poverty-stricken Tondo in Manila, the Philippines. Tzu Chi volunteers immediately held aid distributions for affected families. Recently, they returned once again to distribute rice to over 700 families.
In Tondo, one can easily spot 42-year-old neurofibromatosis sufferer Caridate in the crowd of about 200 residents waiting in line to receive rice distribution slips from the Tzu Chi volunteers.
This is the second time Tzu Chi volunteers have come to help us.
When a fire broke out in Tondo back in March, Tzu Chi volunteers came to deliver consolation cash and aid supplies. Caridate still cherishes the relief items she was given then.
Every day, I use the pot and blanket that Tzu Chi volunteers gave me.
Caridate earns a meager income by working at a food stall run by her neighbor. She has been looking forward to this rice distribution, not only for the 20 kilograms of rice, but also for the spiritual support Tzu Chi volunteers give her.
So parang tao to, tapos nagbabaw siya, so kaningan.
Distributing rice to more than 700 families, the Tzu Chi volunteers have lessened these families' financial burdens, as well as enriched the minds of our recipients.
Turning to Malaysia, Pulau Ketam is an island just west of Kuala Lumpur. Though the presentation of the musical adaptation of the Water Repentance Sutra has concluded here, volunteers of Klang have not forgotten to share the Dharma from the Sutra with those living on the island.
On the island of Pulau Ketam in Malaysia, Tzu Chi volunteers from Klang have crossed the sea to bring the wisdom of Dharma water to share with residents.
I have trouble understanding at first, but by practicing and attending regularly, I have come to understand.
When Grandpa Hong takes a walk, his hands will sign along to the movements of the Water Repentance musical and relies on his cleansed spirit as his guide.
After I practice the movement, I feel refreshed. If I don't feel well, I will do it and feel better immediately. Doing this will keep our mind from wandering. By focusing on the scriptures, you will naturally be at peace.
Such effects on residents have made volunteers' hard work worthwhile. As most seniors here are illiterate, folk religion are popular here. Thus, volunteers hope to guide residents back onto the righteous path.
By immersing ourselves in the scriptures, we learn to modify our conduct. Eventually, we will see we have grown and changed.
The opening scene, the reincarnation and killing of pigs, made me feel very uncomfortable. I shall refrain from eating meat now.
The musical performance of the Water Repentance Sutra is but a new beginning of Buddhism in Malaysia. But thanks to Klang's volunteers, residents of Pulau Ketam will not be left out.
After a successful stage adaptation of the Water Repentance Sutra, earlier in the week, volunteers took to disassembling the practice stage at the Kuala Lumpur Jing Si Hall. Having practiced taught on stage, volunteers hope to apply the Dharma teachings to their life off stage and even guide others onto the correct path.
On-stage volunteers in Malaysia have been using this stage since shortly after Chinese New Year. Before the performance, they seized every opportunity to practice on this stage. Now that the performance is over, the practice stage has become their common memory.
Now that the sutra adaptation is over, we need to disassemble the practice stage, but I'm a bit reluctant to do so. However, since the Master has taught us to let go of the past, we need to move on. Although the performance is over and the stage taken down, the important thing is for the Dharma teachings to remain in our hearts.
The volunteers work as a team in building the practice stage as well as in disassembling it.
First, we'll tear off the carpet, then we take down the plywood, before disassembling the iron scaffolding.
The volunteers disassembled all parts carefully, as some of the components can be reused in the future.
Taking out and collecting the staples in a bucket, we won't get poked by them. If we left them out on the floor, we could step on them.
Although the practice stage has been taken down, it does not mean everything has ended.
Now that the sutra adaptation performance is over, we have to take the Dharma teachings to heart and work to recruit more people to walk the Bodhisattva path.
Having taken the sutra teachings to heart, the volunteers will continue to practice what they've learned in their daily life while trying to make a difference in other people's lives.
To pray for those affected by the Bali water park explosion, Tzu Chi volunteers organized prayer ceremonies at 11 locations in Taipei on the evening of July 11th. One burn victim, Mr. Chen, who was released from the hospital this week, thanked all those who prayed for him and asked that the public continue to send their love and care for the others who are still hospitalized.
Outside Damshi's McKay Memorial Hospital, Mr. Liu, a grape farmer and a burn victim's father, thanked Tzu Chi volunteers for harvesting and selling his grapes so he could stay by his son's side. Mr. Liu's son was injured during the fire when working to save other burn victims.
Although I worry, I'm so proud of him.
Mr. Liu worries because his son faces painful treatment ahead. However, his son has stayed optimistic.
In fact, he is afraid of debridement and hyperbaric oxygen therapy. But seeing how worried we are, he keeps telling us he doesn't feel the pain.
As members of the public continue to pray for the burn victims, Mr. Chan, who's about to be discharged from the hospital, expressed his gratitude.
I want to thank everyone for praying for us. I really appreciate the thoughts and help of the Dharma masters, Tzu Chi volunteers, and Master Zheng Yan.
Mr. Chan also said that he will come back to do rehabilitation with the other burn victims.
I hope you will have faith that the burn victims whose injuries are more severe than mine will get better.
To pray for the quick recovery of the burn victims, Tzu Chi volunteers organized prayer ceremonies at 11 locations in Taipei, which were attended by over 4,000 people. At one of the venues, get-well cards were hung in the hallway of the Tzu Chi Eastern District Liaison Office.
We hope that the kind thoughts and prayers of everyone will lessen the suffering of these youngsters.
At this prayer ceremony, the president of Sunshine Social Welfare Foundation also shared his knowledge about ways to help the burn victims and their families during rehabilitation.
The Indonesian military transport plane, which crashed in a residential area of Medan City last month, killed everyone on board, including people on the ground. In the days following this tragic accident, Tzu Chi volunteers has been a source of support to the victims' family members. On July 14th, volunteers further delivered consolation cash to the victims' families. We leave you with these images. Thank you for watching Tzu Chi This Week. Goodbye.